series in 20 Minutes in the Closet called Mindfulness, Conditioning, and Social Norms. I chose this topic today because I want to know how we experience life. I want to talk about that, and I want us to understand how are we being mindful in our day-to-day activities? How are we conditioned to experience our day-to-day activities or just our day-to-day experiences? And what do we do through the lens of social norms to either uplift ourselves into a better focus on life or to distract ourselves from the issues on life? Today, I have, again, our favorite three individuals here. We have Mr. Big Wayne.
Yo, 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 what's good, what's good?
Miss Amore.
Hi, y'all. Hey, babies.
And the most essential, non-essential man in 2020, Mr. Non-essential.
Here I go.
And that's why he is non-essential.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? It's another day of being non-essential.
So guys, we're going to take a brief break just to get us prepared for our great topic. Go ahead and get online if you need to, or I would like you to get online so we can have a nice live chat. Also, if you want to find me on Facebook, I'm at 20MIN, that's all together, 2020MIN, and also on Instagram at 20MININTH closet. Let me know if you need more information, reach me out, anything like that. We're going to go ahead and take a break.
And also, don't forget, if y'all want to get on the comments or whatever, download the Spreaker app and join the conversation. And we'll be right back.
stars and the sun will cherish us forever. You and I have made a perfect pair to live alone. Trying too hard not to realize we can't live for long. Only now it's clear enough for us to imagine how much pain we've hid until now. On my own, sound a little colder. On my own, seems a lot more wider. On my own, can it be a brand new start to live on my own? Cruising, baby, we have got to stop this cruising, 'cause it only takes us nowhere. We are bleeding. We did try our best, so don't go pleading. Let it wash away as we kiss for the last. We could learn the same, but words came out so different. Once upon a time, don't always have a happy end. But I never felt the way I did with you, and it's a shame that only silence is where it's heading for. We could make it last, I'll tell you that we still can do. Though it's not the type of future we wanted or knew. But the scars of love won't fade away soon. Imagine how much pain we've hid until now. On my own, taste a little biting. On my own, feels like Mary and night. On my own, can it be a brand new start to live on my own? Cruising, baby, we have got to stop this cruising, 'cause it only takes us nowhere. We are bleeding. We did try our best, so don't go pleading. Let it wash away as we kiss for the last time. Baby, we have got to stop this cruising. Let it wash away as we kiss for the last.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining me once again. I just want to make sure you understand that you need to download the Speaker app. Spreaker app, excuse me. That's spelled Spreaker. You can find it at your Apple Store or you can find it on your Google Play. Please definitely go down there, download it, start chatting with us, get involved. These conversations are good, and I'd like to hear more about what you guys think about this. So as I said before we left for that brief break, that speaking of, by the way, I do want to give a shout out to the music because, I chose it and I'm amazing. And,
somebody want to toot their own horn. Toot, toot.
toot, toot. So if you guys enjoyed that, if you enjoyed it, it's you can search it on Google. It's from the Blood Blockade Battlefield soundtrack. It's an anime. But the whole soundtrack is amazing. This artist that you heard, she is one of many artists, but these songs are just songs that I love and enjoy. So take your time, go in there, search it, listen, enjoy, get mindful. So as we get into our topic today, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to kind of give you kind of a brief synopsis of where my mindset was going with this. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been understanding what it is to be mindful. And as I did my research on mindfulness, I actually had another idea for this show. It was supposed to be about sociopaths and psychopaths and narcissists, and that's just really like heavy. That's a little too heavy. I think every day we deal with a whole bunch of those crazy fools, and we sometimes are those crazy fools. So I felt I felt it was best to move on to a better mindset after talking about rejection, which is trying to be in the present moment in life. And so as I do my research, some things came up in my mind. One, I want to kind of address what mindfulness is. And I got this information from www.mindful.org. So it's defined as a basic human ability to be fully present, aware of where you are and what you're doing, and not overly reactive or overwhelmed by what's going on around you. So I know we've all heard this before. If you've ever done any kind of sports, or if you've ever done any kind of competition, it doesn't have to be in the sports realm, your coaches might have told you, stay focused, stay present, because that's the only time when you can kick in your, your natural muscle. You know what I mean? We all have that ability. Like when they say if you fall off, or you'll never forget how to ride a bike. Once you get on, you'll know how to ride it again.
I actually did forget. I'm not 1%.
Auntie.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Did you just really say that on the air?
Listen, let's not judge her on that. Before we do, let's not judge her on that, because you'll be seeing them 40-year-old men on them trike motorcycles.
Oh.
They forgot how to ride a whole motorcycle.
No bullshit, though.
Riding a motorcycle is different.
All right. Well, I tried it. I tried it, love. I tried it. But go ahead, Wayne. What were you saying?
But my question was, I don't understand how you forget to ride a bike. I can understand you not having your balance or your equilibrium is all messed
I have
up.
all the above.
What's your soul?
But no.
I want to know what she sold.
But when you pedal, it's just like when you walk. You're going to go right foot, left foot. Right foot, left foot. I'm just saying. That's just me.
Left cheek, right cheek. Right cheek.
I knew it. I knew something was coming.
I'm gonna tell you this. One of these days,
between
you and I, we will get a bike.
Absolutely. I'm actually about to get one.
And you'll see what I'm talking about. Like it's.
Wait, so Wayne, you talking about the one with the throttle?
No, I'm finna get one of those too, but I'm talking about a pedal.
Bruh, you grown as shit.
What that mean?
Okay, guys. All right, we're going to get back on topic.
Just don't be like the dude I seen riding around without a seat.
So, guys, we're going to get back on topic.
Bro, I swear to God, I seen the dude riding around without a seat on his bike.
And we're going to get back on topic and ride this bike correctly. It's okay. No worries.
You're going to be the one riding that bike correctly.
So, after discussing what mindfulness is, let me just go back. It's about understanding present moments, being involved, being here, being now. Like, in this moment, we're here. Mm-hmm. Even though you're hearing these conversations we're having, this is in the present moment. So obviously we're using mindfulness right now. Well, we try, at least. So I brought in mindfulness specifically because one of the biggest attributes of mindfulness is meditation. And I think a lot of times we don't understand meditation. A lot of great, let's say, teachers and archetypes of meditation have tried to explain this to people. The meditation is not what you normally think of when you watch a movie. Mm-hmm. Right. You see these monks sitting down and doing hum and yum. Blah, blah, blah. Hi, Leo. Thank you for joining us. Thank you very much. We want to understand what it is to truly be in a meditative state. Mm-hmm. And so I definitely love the fact that I have Wayne here today, because what y'all don't know, if you don't already know, that Wayne is an active participant in meditation, and he does this and incorporates this in his life. And I would like to pass the proverbial mic to him so he can go ahead.
She said proverb, like
big words, y'all. I went to school. I got an education.
Your ass looked that shit up last night when you wrote your speech.
She was at the dictionary. How do I say this? Ow! That's how it is.
So in my mindfulness in this moment, I'm going to go ahead and let Wayne take our conversation to meditation.
Hey, she said the Donald Finance works for her.
Oh, Lord.
Hey.
It was actually Reading Rainbow.
You sure?
Man.
And Zoom.
What about Schoolhouse? It was Schoolhouse Rock.
I was about to say that. I was so about to say that.
That was our job. But no, I actually do meditate very often. Some days I would say that I'm in a constant meditation. It's not just when I'm truly thinking about it. You can actually be in a constant meditation all day. A lot of people don't know that. They feel like if you're meditating, you can't interact with people, but that's not true.
Thank you for hitting that point.
Yeah, you have different things that you can actually meditate on.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, when they talk about meditation, they only really give you the meditation information about spiritual. You know what I'm saying? But there's several different meditations.
Right. Now, when you started your path on meditating and becoming more of a mindful person in that,
Mm-hmm.
what was the kickoff? What was the send-off? What really said, hey, I need to start meditating more? Well, I need to really be present in these moments?
Honestly, everything actually started when I wanted to re-kick off my businesses, because I was in a constant funk about my job and the education and experience I have versus the pay that I'm getting, because I didn't know anybody in this company. You know what I'm saying? So I actually started really trying to hone in on myself about, this is the way that corporate America wants something. So what can I do? And I started, like, meditation is like a build up of yourself. You have to be able to plan something out, like really sit down and be like, okay, this is what I want to do. How am I going to get there? What do I need to do? So it's like having a business plan is what I started on. And so I actually started like meditating and almost putting myself in those positions in this spot before it even happened, to almost see what I needed to do. And then I can be like, okay, I get that, but there's something else missing. So, and that's why I say there's different forms of meditation. So then I actually had to learn that there's a spiritual meditation that can also block what you're trying to do because you're not in tune with yourself.
Right, exactly. And I want to, and not to cut you off, Wayne, because we're going to definitely come back with you on this. And I'm glad you brought this up. So most of us haven't, how do I say this? A lot of times and this is from my own personal experience and listening to other people's story, meditation and mindfulness does not happen until something breaks in our life. And Ghost, thank you for showing up. Thank you. Woo.
Wait, hey Wayne,
I'm sorry.
Wait,
time out.
What's up?
Ghost just show up?
Hi, Ghost.
Ghost.
Hi, honey.
What's been up? You been MIA for like 3 weeks. Ever since you said you was gonna bring the Hennessy to the studio, we ain't heard nothing else from you. I just wanted to speak on that. I'm sorry.
No.
Continue,
Well said, Wayne. I wasn't gonna say nothing, but you took the words out of my mouth.
Thank you for calling him out on that. Because when Hennessy is not provided, when it's asked for, there's a problem.
No. He suggested. He
suggested.
said, I come up there.
Even worse.
He said, I come up there with the Hennessy.
Even worse. Oh, if you don't call on the Hennessy, you need to be present and mindful that the Henny needs to be there.
Exactly. Because anything is possible.
Anything. So I do want to make sure I do hit on some points too. Like I said, Wayne just explained something pretty profound to us that in his life, he wanted to find something for himself, and he had a purpose for himself. And so in that purpose, he started to work on mindfulness and meditation. Mm-hmm. And so I bring up Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle, and I'll spell this for everyone. It's E as in Edward, C-K-H-A-R-T, Eckhart. Last name Tolle, T-O-L-L-E. This gentleman is a spiritual teacher and author born in Germany, educated at the University of London and Cambridge. I found him by accident. Azuri, thank you for being here, love. I found him on accident, actually. I was going through a personal struggle, which I feel like I go through every, 3 months. Almost like shedding my skin of things that I probably shouldn't be doing or be involved in. But when I stumbled upon Eckhart Tolle, I listened to a lot of the things he was saying. This man was living a life that most of us might envy. He like I said, he graduated from Cambridge. He graduated from the University of London. He's a philosophy professor. By the way, shout out to all the philosophers out there. That was my major in college. I didn't finish it, but I loved it.
I love philosophers.
And so in his time, he actually became bored with his life. He felt stuck. He didn't feel happy or accomplished, and he had a break in his life. And I think we all experience it. I know a lot of times we reference these, like, you know, when they say men turn 40, they go through like a midlife crisis. I don't agree with that. Crises happen in life when they happen for the person. Every day. Some people, there are 3-year-olds going through a crisis right now. And for us to say that at a certain age you go through a crisis, we'll expand on this more on our next part of our topic, is, I think, incorrect. And so just a little bit on Eckhart Tolle. He learned to let go. Things didn't change for him. Let's just say he still was in that moment, but he learned how to let go and be present. And in that moment, he was able to manifest where he is today. And I'm not going to put too much on that manifestation, because when you listen to Eckhart Tolle, please check him out on YouTube. There's videos. He's not present in the sense of, I have an objective. There's no objective. He's just present. And that's a big point on meditating. Meditation, from my own research, requires you to disavow yourself of everything. That means the things that you feel you're connected to, family members, social norms, conditioning, everything. And that's a challenge for a lot of us, because
you like distancing yourself?
It's more than distancing. It's really, and honestly, another reason why I brought this topic up is, in the time of our social distancing, this was like the universe saying mindfulness is necessary. When you can't be around people, you're actually given an easy pass to find mindfulness and meditation. And I think this is why this topic came to mind. And I'm going to come back to you, Wayne, a little bit more. Like I brought up with Eckhart. Eckhart went through something. Good or bad is not really necessary, because in meditation, good or bad is not existent, because it doesn't exist. It's just present. And so, with that said, Wayne, you said you wanted to start a business, and a lot of us, we've been hearing on social media with this new life that we're going into, this new world. People are talking about business. People are actually talking about ownership, about not being relegated to live in a system where they're forced to work somewhere where they don't necessarily want to work. Maybe they want to for the money, but for personal achievement, it's not something they really want to do. And so for somebody like you who can relate to people in that mode, it manifests itself in different ways. And for you, it manifested to becoming a meditative, a practicer of meditation. And in that time of practice, obviously, you must have centered yourself at some point.
Yes.
Can you expound a little bit more on that centering time?
Yeah, it's actually just like you said. You actually had to learn to. It's actually kind of weird, because you got to learn how to be self-aware and be aware of your surroundings, but also be distant at the same time. So it's like when you're
patting your head and rubbing your stomach at the same time.
Nah, that's easy.
Hey, not for everyone.
I'm talking to yourself.
But no, it's more like, I'll say it like this. It's like being in a room with your favorite people, having a dope conversation.
Like right now, 20 minutes in the closet. Shameless plug.
And being able to pay attention to everything that's going on, but also not be in that room at the same time. Because you actually have to be able to be focused on what's going on in the present. For a second.
And the reason I'm pausing is because Mr. Not Essential made a face that a lot of people, and you made valid points if you've taken the time to kind of learn a little bit or step your toe into mindfulness and meditation. But what Mr. Not Essential did is what some of you might be doing right now. You made a face like, hold up. You want me to be here, but not be here at the same time?
It wasn't that, because I understand it's basically an out-of-body experience.
Okay, yes. There you go. Look, you got deeply to out-of-body experience.
Just because I'm not essential, I got plenty of time to meditate.
Let's go.
But do you, though?
Come on, let's go. Throw the ball back and forth.
Though?
But do I?
Yeah.
And do
it ain't like how I want to meditate, but I had time to meditate.
Well, okay, I like this conversation. You see, you have a gentleman here who understands meditation, and Wayne, you brought up an idea of meditation, but do you meditate?
Cool.
do you actually meditate, and do you feel, because you automatically understand when, and this is just from me trying this. I tried this on an experiment on myself because I was going through too much like my brain was overloaded with too many thoughts, dreams. My thoughts were in my dreams, and a lot of people think that's
actually good.
No,
sometimes your dreams.
I'm gonna tell you.
Sometimes your dreams do reveal stuff.
True, they do. But here's the thing: when you wake up from those dreams, I realize that it's good to have them, but it's not good to allow the residue that usually happens when you wake up. So I had to learn to stop and be in a meditative mode as soon as I wake up. To realize, where are you right now? Sit, breathe. Listen to the sound around you. Just be in the moment right now. Because if you have a dream that's too thoughtful, when you wake up, you don't necessarily wake up from the dream. Your mind is still subconsciously echoing what maybe you didn't want to hear in the dream. Or maybe it didn't go the way you wanted in the dream. So that feeling doesn't allow you to be present. It makes you go back to the dream in the sense of, it's not even beneficial for what the information was there for. And you see, look, I love this. So let me not go on these full tangents, but I do want to bring up this. Marvin, I'm sorry, Mr. Non-Essential.
Bruh, I'm going to jail today.
Okay. My bad, bro. I got you. Mr. G-A-Y. So you brought up your meditation. Your name coined Mr. Non-Essential. Can you expound on your meditative, what you believe to be, and I'm not even going to say believe, what is meditation to you in these moments?
Meditation to me? You want my past or my current meditation?
Current. Let's just stay with the present.
Damn, that's going to go ahead. But
no, go to the past. Go to the past if you want.
Hey, my past meditation, my past, shit, I ain't gonna lie. I go to the strip club and zone the fuck out with some drink. You roll your eyes, but my ass goes straight. Hey, I zone the fuck out.
Okay.
But now, a lot of times, it's normally a lot of times my meditation is when I'm to myself.
Okay.
You won't know what I'm doing, but a lot of times I'll sit there and just zone out.
Okay. No, I get you.
So
I've seen it. You trying to check your pulse.
Nah, but I do a little. It's not to the level how Wayne do it, but it's like entry level type.
Well, then with that said, let's jump back to Wayne real quick. Wayne, you brought up something called levels.
Yes.
And what I've learned about my research in meditation is that's one thing you want to avoid is comparative meditation, because everybody's level of meditation has nothing to do with the other person. That's
Absolutely.
Part of meditation is to detach and attempt to not connect your level to anyone that you're perceiving or seeing. It's about your level of meditation.
Well, I want to kind of clarify that.
Go ahead.
Okay, the reason why I said level is because me and Wayne had a side conversation one night, and I was asking him about it. So we looked up a video on YouTube, and it actually instructs you on proper, what meditation techniques, kind of?
Yeah, so what we went through was the actual chakra meditation.
Can you for our listeners, can you give them like a search?
No, listen.
I don't remember what it was.
Well, I mean, just a way to find it.
Yeah, if you actually go to YouTube, you can actually type in chakra meditation, and they actually have several different ones. But if you're trying to learn what it is, you want to do the 10-minute meditation. It actually goes through.
The one.
Yeah.
Okay.
It actually goes through the 7 levels of your chakra. But they actually have meditations for deep sleep, for anxiety, pretty much for any type of symptoms that you may be going through emotionally. They have meditation for. But the one we were actually looking at was the 10-minute chakra meditation.
And Marvin, you said once you found this.
So, we listen to it or whatever, and it goes through and it instructs you on whatever. So the reason why I said levels is because there's a difference the way I believe meditation is, and then going by following the instructions of the audio and the sound and everything. Now that's different because also frequency also affects your meditation too.
Absolutely.
Audio.
Okay.
So we go. We go. He's like, all right, go ahead. He's like, just listen to it. He's like, close your eyes, listen to it. Close my eyes, I listen to it.
Did you check your wallet?
I ain't worried about that.
People Michigan.
No,
that's how
right. Didn't she though? But
shots
we, you know,
fired.
hey, we gonna show her how better we are. We gonna stay on path.
Yeah.
Listen, it's not shots
Oh.
fired. I'm African.
We
Spears
gonna-
thrown.
Spears thrown.
Fuck that! I get a slingshot. But so we go through the thing or whatever, and the reason why I said out of body, and I noticed when we was going through it because it has you focus on your breathing, and it has you focus on what your body is doing during the time with your eyes closed and you're breathing.
Mm.
So as you're doing it, and I would notice, and I was listening to it, and at the end of it, I did feel more relaxed.
Mhm.
But I also mentioned, I told Wayne, I said, I don't know what the fuck that was.
Did you give me drugs?
No. The reason, okay, so when I say out of body experience, it was. I'm just going to describe it, and I don't know if it's going to be right, but it feels as though it's like I felt my body relax, and I feel like I was fighting with something.
Mm.
Like I wanted to drift, but it's like something's like come bring me back. Like I was snapping out of it.
Mm.
And that's why I said it's like it's out of body experience because like I felt that ease, but it was just like something
Like
was
you weren't in control of the battle happening, but you
right.
knew that something
it was something bring
push-
wanted
a
me
push
to come
and pull.
bring it was bring me back and snapping me out.
Okay.
Mhm.
So
Wayne, you obviously have not obviously. I'm gonna stop saying obviously because I sound like what's his name off of Dexter, the one that nobody likes, the tall one, the jerk.
talking about DD.
No, Dee Dee, the one who's in love with Dee Dee. The
I'm
other-
talking about Dexter's Laboratory, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Dexter the Blood.
Right.
No.
DD.
No.
Because he was like-
DD, you are stupid.
I felt like either Dexter or his arch nemesis. I'm like, obviously, you all should know.
What the hell was that damn dude name?
I forgot.
I don't
If anybody
remember
knows,
his name.
download the Spreaker. Excuse me. Look, listen. Download the Spreaker app. Download it. It's on Apple. Your Apple Pot. Your Apple. I just saw something. I'm sorry, guys. Your Apple Store or your Google Play Store. Download it. Get in there. Let's talk. And if you hear something and we're trying to figure out what it is, please get on here and tell us because we definitely need you guys involved. But Wayne, I do want you. Oh, okay, Leo. I see this. So you're talking about singing bowls. Now I've seen them. We've probably seen them in movies where you see people doing like these meditative chants. Sometimes when you see like a Buddhist monk, they'll do like a bowl that they it's like a tool on a bowl that they spin around.
And it makes
a frequency, sound frequencies. Leo, while we're talking, please give us a little bit more information on that so we can kind of expound on this for our listeners and maybe a link if you have one, and we'll talk about that as it comes. But we'll go back to Wayne. Wayne, so you introduced somebody to a different form of meditation, obviously because you have taken that path.
Yes.
Obviously. Can you kind of I don't want you to explain what he learned, what he did, but I want you to edify a little bit more on that experience of finally experiencing and what I hear is groundedness, or at least he finally touched on what it means to be grounded. Can you explain a little bit better for me?
Yes. So before when I was just doing just like, I wouldn't say the meditation for almost like provisions of what I want to see come. What I was talking about with Mr. Non-Essential is more of on the spiritual side. And for me, that was a big breakthrough because even before I was doing meditations and everything, I had so many questions and I had so many things that didn't make sense to me. And I used to challenge people, pastors and stuff on that. But since I've became more of where I am now, it's like it's not actually for you to challenge them. It's to educate. And so now I actually feel I feel like more of an educator when I hold conversations with people instead of just, I'm going to give you advice. No,
mentor versus, because I think a mentor and educator are two different things.
absolutely.
And a lot of people tend to forget that just because somebody's educating you doesn't mean that they're mentoring you.
Yes.
Exactly.
Mentorship takes more of getting involved in that person.
hands-on.
Mentor
Exactly.
is still educated.
Yeah, you're still educated. But I feel that's another level of that. And it sounds horrible to say this, but teachers can teach, but to be able to mentor means
That's
that
different.
you're getting involved in that person and you're getting to understand how their mind frame works with the information or the guidance that you're trying to provide.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, I would actually say more of a mentor because me and Miss, I ain't even gonna talk bad
Miss
about you.
Beautiful
talking about the one across the table?
Amore. When the
He said a mirror.
pizza pie, that's some more.
But no, we actually, me and her actually had a conversation just the other day, and what I thought was dope about the conversation is she actually said that, you know, sometimes we hold a conversation and I'll say something and it's very meaningful and she didn't get to write it down or anything like that, and she'll ask again. And she's like, she don't want me to constantly have to repeat myself on that. And I had to let her know that sometimes when a person is speaking to you and speaking about a situation that y'all are talking about, at that moment, it actually may not be for you, but it's for them. So being able to regurgitate that information at a later date, it actually helps them to give it to you in the best way for you.
See, I like that you said that, because I will say that I'm sure we all experience this. A lot of things that you learned in your life, and I found myself going back to mom and dad saying, thanks for telling me this. They mentored me. Those are your parents. They mentored me as a child, and maybe hearing it was just repetitious, like, oh, she's always saying this, she's always saying this, until the day comes where, ding, I'm saying it now. Not only am I saying it, but I'm actually living it, and I can actually walk in the steps of what this mentor was giving me.
Right.
I mean, we all watched the Teenage Ninja Turtles.
Absolutely, sure
And
did.
We all know that Shredder,
Which one are you talking about?
the original, the
You talking about
90s
anime
baby,
or
the 90s,
the real life.
the original.
Either one.
When
I watched them anyway. So
Well, if you're a 90s baby, I'm talking about the one you watched after school. It probably came out like 2 hours after you came home and saw Sailor Moon. It was after X-Men. And it, like, you know what I mean? I know the schedule because I was there.
you're talking about that Saturday morning?
No, I'm talking about it came
That
home
was
from
after
school.
school.
That, you know, you remember, and this is
You
just
talking about with Dark Winged Up?
because here's what exactly. Because you know what happened. You get home and you finally get a little bit of Passions and a little bit of your judge shows, and then you switch over. Yeah, definitely. I'm 33 years old.
You
sound like you're 50.
No, but so before we continue, guys, I do want to bring up something. Leo, thank you very much for giving us more information. He brought up the singing bowls, and he says they come in different sizes, and they have the large one. They have large ones as big as tires, and frequencies are more pure and direct. There is a link that he put on here, but honestly, you guys, I'm going to read it out to you, but the only way that you can get these links is if you get onto the Spreaker app. I don't know, I keep doing these plugs, and I need y'all to do it, because I see a lot of you on here. I'm just joking. But if you go on the Spreaker app, you can definitely see what we're talking about. Just know that he did put it on here. It's youtube.be/D50_J, I believe that's an IGEP. G is capitalized, EP is lowercase, U is uppercase, and 0, the number 0. But if you want to get that for real, you need to go on this app. Leo, I'm going to try to come back here and put this on my page as well so we can get people involved. But let's get back on topic a little bit when it comes to our understanding of this topic of mindfulness, and we've kind of spent a lot of time on it, so I'm sorry. I thank you, Wayne, for expounding a little bit more.
Absolutely.
We're going to come back to this closer to the end of the show because there's other parts to this, but I want to jump over to the beautiful Amore because we have not given her the full-fledged attention to this beautiful goddess, this beautiful brown melanated Black Lives Matters all day is beside me.
Gang, gang. You
And if
already
you
know.
guys are not joining me,
Somebody give me a pen to bust a bubble.
well, actually, you can't burst the bubble of a queen. So I'm gonna let y'all know if you really want to get involved in this
Well, give me a
conversation.
magnet.
I do need you to go and download this app. It's on your Apple. It's on your Google Play. Just download it. Find us. We are here. It's 20 Minutes in the Closet. These two gentlemen in front of me, they also have a show, Relapse 101. Please definitely look at them. Look at both of us. Look at everyone. Look at yourselves. Look at your mirror. Look at your cat. But look at this while you're on Spreaker. But Miss Amore,
Yes, honey.
when I met you, I got a beautiful feeling from you because you were very positive in the way you spoke to me. And when we had our conversations personally, I could tell that you're a woman who's been through things. But I feel like I found a meditation in you.
Yeah.
Somebody who went through something who was able to overcome it. There was a time where you possibly, I'm assuming, found mindfulness in your situation. Whether you can categorize it or not. But can you expound a little bit more on your life in meditation and what you do in your meditation?
So I'm someone who's really connected to nature and Mother Earth. So when I feel there's too much noise, whether it's with human interactions or creations that have been created by human beings, whether it's television or whatever, I will disconnect. That I will literally go off the grid. And I will drive somewhere, and people talk about me all the time because I'll drive far. Like, I'll drive to wherever the lake is, wherever the body of water is, something. I'm even the kind of person to where if I know a severe storm is coming, I'll sit on my balcony, I'll go in my car, I'll drive into the storm, and I'll sit there in the middle of the storm as the rain's coming down.
We found the new character that we needed. Everybody talk about Beyonce being Storm. I already know somebody. I'm saying, anybody making a film requiring a Storm character, we got one right here. She got an afro. We can put a great streak right here. But we are going to come back.
Inspired me to do one thing 20% if y'all do this.
Wow.
I like that.
So he's putting it out there right now. Guys, I'm going to take a little break real quick. We're going to get back. When we get back, we will be talking to Miss Amore.
It's gonna be most Murphy when we come back.
Wow. But I do want to make sure before we cut out to our break, make sure you go to the Spreaker app, which you can find it on Google Play or on the Apple Store. I hate saying Google Play first because I don't mess with Apple. I'm Android all day. But if you do, I'm sorry if you mess with the other thing. But I have eaten apples. I love y'all. So the next thing I do want y'all to do also is to please find me on Facebook at the @ sign 2020 M as in Mary, I as in India, N as in Nancy, and we'll be back. Thank you guys.
Wait, what did that say? What you just spelled?
At 2020 MIN.
What's that? Man.
It's the.
We be back.
We'll be back.
Living by myself, paranoid as hell. There's nothing I can do. Yesterday's tomorrow. My dreams were never true, but somehow I'll keep on loving you. Emotions are attached, 'cause something happened that no one can help. I broke out of my shell just to find that I don't belong. I broke out of my shell just to find that I'm living by myself. Ooh, paranoid as hell. There's nothing I can do, but somehow I keep on loving you.
life been a black sheep. All my life been the black keys. True, I never really was a bad breed. Daddy probably rolled for me an athlete. Man, that nigga move like a taxi. All my life in the backseat. You talk about life, is it that sweet? All these eyes staring at me. I've been feeling real low, nigga, low key. How a brave heart feeling so weak. Tattoos on my passport, no sleep. This is what you asked for, don't weep. Don't whinge, man, I'm here and I won't leave. All I wanna do, make songs, blow trees. Wouldn't be honest with myself if I don't speak. So I make the point to address it, man, you know me. Got me believing in Buddha, the more I proceed. Oh, this life isn't guaranteed. All my life felt a cold breeze in and out, but staying up and never down. You hearing me now? Give me some time and a little space, I'll figure it out. They wanna know my whereabouts and who I'm around. Been in one life of time trying to find a way out. You can hear it in my rhymes, I'll be thinking aloud. I'ma be ghost for a minute, don't get in your feelings. I ain't even wrote for a minute. Not a single lyric, man, I got a life that is crazy. Most cannot live it. See, I'm trying to sabotage me. Got me fucking living all my life in a black sheep. All my life been a black keys. True, I never really was a bad breed. Daddy probably rather me an athlete. Man, that nigga move like a taxi, yeah. All my life in the backseat, yeah. You talk about life, is it that sweet, yeah? All these eyes staring at me, yeah. Oh, phone rings and I miss everyone. All I hear them saying is, look what you become. This is what you signed up for, you forget. This is what you get. This is what you get. All these eyes in the front row. Hella pure souls in the front row. Remember seeing J. Cole, I was in the front row. Couldn't move, was an all if you must know. Still struggling to find who I trust though. All my life in the cut though. All my life caught the bus home through the north side. Then I got a pedal bike, mommy flipped when I got home. Like people get killed out here, but mommy I'm a rider and a fighter. Never been a dickhead in life, don't ever try me. Don't get it confused cause I'm humble and I'm quiet. Loud niggas step into Sims and get silenced. I ain't got to say how when it don't involve violence. Though I got G's that are ready and are here for it, but there's no need. I just want peace. Take me higher, get an 8 from the supplier. Make your mind up what you need, what you desire. Niggas hating, but it's cool, man, it's a minor. I just do me in my own lane, I'm the driver. 23, feeling older and I'm wiser. All my life, been search for what I die for. Guess I am the one, the people I'ma fight for. Surely you should know what you rep, know who you ride for. All my life been a black sheep. All my life been a black keys. Sure, I never really was a bad breed. Daddy probably rather me an athlete. Man, that nigga move like a taxi, yeah. All my life in the backseat, yeah. You talk about life, is it that sweet, yeah? All these eyes staring at me, yeah. Oh, phone rings and I miss everyone. All I hear them saying is, look what you become, yeah. This is what you signed up for, you forget, yeah. This is what you get, yeah. This is what you get. I don't wanna be in this wonderland no more. I don't wanna be in this wonderland no more. Keep it moving when I say so. Do you even know your way on? Look up to the heavens and pray on. Will I see another day? Keep it true by any means. See some shit you'd never see. White rabbits are everywhere, but you should come follow me. See this world, it isn't real. Swear this all must be a dream. Swear this all must be some fake shit. I'm used to being deceived. Look at me now. I don't wanna be alone. Know what I need right now. Will I end up all alone? I don't wanna be in this wonderland no more. I don't wanna be in this wonderland no more. I don't wanna be in this wonderland no more. I don't wanna be in this wonderland no more. no time for false. Keep it living, keep the pulse. True, I've always kept it true. True, I've always had the sauce. Getting tired and you know, now my family need me home. Sick and tired of being sick and tired, nowhere to go. All I know is I don't wanna be alone. Know what I need right now. Will I end up alone? I don't wanna be in this wonderland no more. I don't wanna be in this wonderland no more. I don't wanna be in this wonderland no more. I don't wanna be in this wonderland no more. Keep it moving when I say so. Say so. Do you even know your way? Oh no. Look up to the heavens and pray. Oh Lord. Will I see another day? I don't wanna be in this wonderland no more. I can't afford to be here anymore. It's not real, it's a figment of my imagination. It's all pretty here and everything's lovely. Some fuck shit too, but real shit's happening and my people need me. And therefore, I'm out.
Hey guys, thank you for joining me again. While we were on break, by the way, before I jump into everything, Mrs. Azare, excuse me, Azare. Let me throw out my Frenchness.
Sunflower.
I'm gonna do it right. Azare. So the
That was a little hard.
a little bit. So the last song y'all heard was from Lil Sims. I picked this out because I really do love this young woman. I was just telling my beautiful co-hosts with that extra S's about this young lady. And the reason why I brought it up is because when I found her, she has a song called Marilyn Monroe. It's a good song. Marilyn Monroe. Okay, anyways, so if I was dancing a little bit. If you go on YouTube, just type in Little, not Lil, you know Lil. It's Little Sims with a Z at the end. SIMZ. A very good artist. I definitely recommend that you listen to her. She is just phenomenal. She's from London, really good. But Azare, thank you for popping that out. I love your musical, like your musical IQ is where I'm popping, girl. Thank you. So, in the process of our break, we did get a couple of info. We were talking a little bit about what Leo brought up. And Leo, thank you for bringing up the information on the bowls, the meditation bowls.
Singing bowls.
Excuse me. Let me say it correctly. Thank you for correcting me. You see, this is why we have professionals. You see, this is not just a regular show. We got people here. When I make these topics, y'all, I don't just do it for no reason. Sometimes I do, but it works out. So let it all work out. So when we were talking, we brought up the frequencies that you're using in these bowls. You have to be careful, right? And I want Miss Amore. Yes.
She almost didn't know it.
No, I knew it. I was.
She was
waiting.
like, shoot, we got Azare, we got Amore, we got.
I want you to expound a little bit more on what we were just talking about in regards to these. I'm sorry, Wayne, correct me because I'm going to say it wrong. The item in which Mr. Leo.
Singing bowls.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. And before Miss Amore goes into this, the Spreaker app is where you should be to get more in-depth information on the things and topics that we're speaking on today in 20 Minutes in the Closet. Thank you. Right. I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to this beautiful black queen. Sexual chocolate. Sexual chocolate.
You already
Oh, Lord, it's a day.
Y'all is too crazy. Okay. So yeah, I meditate 3 different ways. It's either going to be I submerge myself in nature, whether it's by a body of water, a lake, a stream, an ocean, whatever, or in a storm. Or like I'll do what's called float therapy, which I think is really, really dope, where you submerge yourself like in this pod type thing. You can be in your bathing suit or you can be like in your bare necessities. And you can even close the lid to where it's just nothing but you and darkness. and you float in the water. And it could be for 15 minutes, it could be for 2 hours, whatever. But it's designed to have you shut everything off and to disconnect from everything. And you can either have complete silence, or you can even have like some kind of sounds or music or whatever playing. I've done that, which is amazing. And it turns off your sensories. Like, that gave me the ultimate outer body experience. And then when you come out of that, it's like a natural high that I promise you, from my experience, no substance can give you the same kind of high. It's amazing. And then I'll sit in my balcony, either in complete silence. I'll sit in my closet in complete silence, or I may have, some music playing or whatever, but that's also how I meditate. There was one time where I had someone do the singing bowls for me, and it's very important, and we were talking about this during the break, it's very important that, especially if you're new to this, to be very mindful of who is in control of the frequencies.
Absolutely.
Because the frequency is coming from them.
Amen.
And that can really mess you up. And my first time, whatever they had going on, I was not okay after.
And I want to throw something out. We have all heard this before. In ways that maybe you don't recognize you heard it. Not on my level. Your energy is messing with me. We've heard this, whether you were saying it or you were saying it to you. And I want to bring it up because as soon as you brought up the frequencies, Miss Erykah Badu popped in my head. And the only reason I threw out Miss Erykah is because if anybody's ever listened to Mama's Gun or any of Erykah's albums, specifically there's one song called I think Green Eyes.
Oh, love that.
And in this song, she talks about a gentleman. Obviously, she's telling this young man, it's not you. My eyes are green, not because you cheated on me, because they're green because I'm new. I'm new. But his frequency, that's really what she's talking about. His frequency was not meeting hers anymore. Thank you for expounding on that, and I thank you for jumping into the conversation and also giving us a backup on what Leo was trying to provide. Thank you, Leo, for being a part of this. You were a part of this last week, and I really appreciate you. Ghost, Azure, everybody that's gone on here, thank you very much for being here.
Love you guys.
Please share this link. Please share this podcast. It is going to be available even after it's live. So I want everybody to please make sure to share it, because just because we're doing it right now doesn't mean it's not available for the future. But I want to kind of switch a little bit, because we've been talking about meditation, and I know our audience has probably kind of gotten a basic understanding. And I'm going to say basic because meditation requires more than just people talking about it. You have to experience. 20 Minutes in the Closet is about experience. Everything that I talk about in this podcast is about experience. I'm not telling you these things because I just went online and found what was the cutest thing on Snapchat and was like, let me talk about it. I've actually been going through these things myself, and I've been blessed by the universe and by God to be around people who actually have experience in these things, that I can provide this information at a further level than what I have to provide myself. But we're going to jump into another part of this segment, which we said was mindfulness was first, meditation was the key. We're going into conditioning. This is going to be a little bit heavy. Conditioning. And not the stuff you put in your hair to make it soft.
I was finna say, my beard need a little bit.
Because none of y'all use
it's
that.
Not Murray's. It's not that.
I know
That's a lie. I do use conditioner.
Tea tree oil.
Tea tree. Wow, you are so holistic.
What was that? Peppermint. What was that?
Yeah, that peppermint gastro oil.
These men surprise me every day.
Castor oil,
right? These men. They
transmission fluid. Motor oil, power steering fluid.
Excuse me, I have a better conditioner.
What?
Stimulus checks.
I got one.
Can we get another one? Can we get another one? Anybody on the Senate listening? You on the House? Can we go ahead and pass another one? Make it $3,000. Because you know what? We need it.
Because we've been
they gonna say take your asses back to work.
Listen. Okay. Anyways, let's get to conditioning. So, I first want to identify conditioning for my listening group, and before I do want to leave you guys when it comes to mindfulness on a quick quote. And I'm not trying to stutter, but I will let you know. The quote is from Singh Tasan. I don't want to say this incorrectly, and I probably did, but this is a Buddhist meditation master, and he was quoted saying this: "If you do not conjure up difference, all things are of one kind. Seeing the things of the world evenly restores the genuine character." Now, just meditate on that for a moment. The words aren't really important. It's the structure of the words, and it's what the words are trying to get you to understand.
So what's the word?
Your word. Honestly, the way, and I'm only going to go off of my interpretation, because everything that you hear in this world is about interpretation.
Absolutely.
When I hear this, all I'm saying, what I'm hearing in my present moment as the person that I am today, which could be different tomorrow, and I don't care, and it's different from yesterday, it don't matter, because she ain't here no more.
She gone.
She gone. She took a flight, and the Bermuda Triangle ate it.
What? I'm thinking the same thing.
Girl, look.
So y'all on the same frequency?
We are. I think so.
Hold on, because I caught the inside joke.
I'm done. So, in my mind, when he talks about conjuring up differences, we do that a lot. Actually, we're in a time right now where differences are really being thrown in our faces. Black, white, poor, rich,
say it again.
Sick, not sick, all these things. And we have to realize something. There is really there is a difference when it comes categorically to that, but there is no difference when it comes to the fact that we're all human beings on this earth. And so let's just keep in mind, while we're trying to become more mindful and meditative in our lives, that no matter what's going on in our world, we're all the same. We're all human beings. Right. We bleed, we die, we live. And so we have to find a way to do that correctly so that we can continue doing it for the future. So the future can continue doing it when we're gone. But anyways, we're going to jump into conditioning. So definition. So conditioning, it's the process of training and accustoming a person or an animal to behave in a certain way or to accept certain circumstances. In the behavioral psychology theory of conditioning or response to an object or an event or a stimulus by a person or animal, or basically, let me break it down. Conditioning is basically things that you learn subconsciously and consciously on experiences. So if you are, let's break it down a little bit more. If you are a child and your mother is always
beating your ass?
No, your mother never makes eggs. Never makes eggs. She even tells you, I hate eggs. You see her responses to eggs. Through conditioning, you might end up hating eggs yourself. Not for any reason that you have that's not like, how do you say it?
It's not of your own.
It's not of your own. It's because you've been experiencing that through conditioning of that experience with your mother. And
so you saying I just don't like it?
You don't. It's not because you didn't try it. It's because somebody decided.
I don't like it because I ain't tried it.
You might have tried it, but because in the conditioning process, somebody connected to you that you needed, that you were around, even if you didn't need them, you're around regularly. Constantly put negative reinforcement, maybe positive reinforcement on a certain thing. You subconsciously are open to it. I'm not saying that you're going to do it, because in a lot of situations, just because you experience something doesn't mean you end up doing it. But the likelihood of you having a negative or positive reaction to that thing is higher than somebody who never experienced it at all.
You know, the most simplistic version or explanation of conditioning.
Thank you for simplifying my complicated.
Is toothpaste. Okay. You grow up in your family, in your mom and dad's household, using a particular toothpaste that they purchased. And that's the whole, right. That's the whole family uses. Everyone uses Colgate. And then even, and studies have shown, because, psychology major, that when you get into your own, typically for the first couple of years, you continue to use that toothpaste until something clicked to try something else. Usually it's going to be a friend or a relationship that you were in, and you were exposed to a different type of toothpaste to use, and you wanted to try it.
That conscious-minded black woman. Thank you.
I mean,
thank you.
I know a little something.
And I'm the reason I'm jumping in is because, so we have social conditioning. I bring up conditioning to throw into there's so many subcategories, by the way, guys, of conditioning. We don't have enough time, or benefactors or books or even accreditation in this room to go further into the psychological side of it, the social side of it, but we're going to hit points. And in these points, I'm going to tell you guys now, social conditioning has a lot to do with the psychological side that she brought up. Now, Amore, when you brought up Colgate, it brought up Pavlov. And I always tell people something. You need to read Pavlov's theory. And you have to. And it's not even just because you want to become a psychologist. You need to understand something about how we are conditioned and the type of understanding that as a collective we know about how human beings are able to condition. Before I go to Pavlov, it's even before him. Pavlov was a scientist I believe in like the 1930s or 40s. I might be wrong, but it was in the mid 1900s that studied making a dog. What happens when you provide food to a dog?
I love that.
And you ring a bell. Now, what he did was he gave the dog food and rang the bell. Gave him food, rang the bell. Then he took away the food, but kept ringing the bell. The dog would salivate every time the bell rang because he was conditioned to associate the bell, which had nothing to do with food, with food. And so after removing the food, the bell rang, but the dog had no nourishment, but still salivated for the thing that he was associated with. Now, if we want to go on a level of before Pavlov, there was, and I'm sorry, you guys, I can't quote this specifically, but I've actually heard this myself in a lot of the little nerdy YouTube videos that I listen to. But I think it was I don't know if it was Constantine or it was in that time. I'm going back before Jesus Christ, where a gentleman said, give me a child, give me 7 years, from birth to 7 years, and I will make that child, basically condition him to follow the society in which I'm trying to give him. So you remember how powerful conditioning really is and what happens at birth to 7. There's a reason why the first 7 years of your life is very critical, because when you are a child, what is happening to you, you may not be able to recall it in your 30s, but subconsciously you've experienced it, and you've been conditioned to react in ways that you may not know you're reacting. And I'm going to give you a big example on this. When I came to the United States, I was 3 years old. This was in 91. Hey, in America. Okay.
Beat your ass.
So what happened? I'm gonna share with y'all because this is a 20-minute in the closet. It's 20 minutes in the closet. I'm being honest with y'all. It's more than 20 minutes. Not essential.
I was about to say, we're about an hour
in Mars time. No, so here's the thing.
You know Mars? Are you ready for Mars?
Possibly.
So
I know that you're the one. You
don't know nothing about that.
Ooh,
don't worry about it.
You don't know nothing about that.
We'll tiptoe to the side.
Both y'all have to get
Hey.
Okay.
I know you
both of y'all.
It's not karaoke, but Andre 2000, shout out to you for being one of the best rappers alive.
Don't get me started.
All right, so baby daddy called me. So shut up, Andre 2000.
He said, "Hey, Erica."
She wanted the love below.
Anyways, so in the I can't.
You said Andre 3000. That's what he do.
I
The
hate
love
the fact that he
below.
cracks the joke and as it resonates, it just gets funnier.
All right, Caroline. No. So here's the thing. When it comes to conditioning, when I came to the United States, I was 3, and I don't remember my.
She was about to say X.
I don't remember my life until 10.
Oh wow!
But I know when I came to the United States at 3, I knew 4 languages. 1 stuck. 2 actually, English and French. A lot of that has to do with conditioning.
Yep.
Why I don't remember my childhood vividly at that time frame, that's going to take a couple more shots. No, that's going to take time for me to get there. But what I'm saying is there's a lot of things as a child that I was conditioned to do that consciously, I don't recall how I learned it. But subconsciously at 33, I still know how to do these things. And when I recall this information with my mom and dad, they tell me, we taught you that.
Mhm.
I'm like, I don't even remember the lesson. I don't remember going to the class. And that goes also with even high school. Most of us in our 30s, we don't remember half the things we were taught in school. We cannot recall even most of the stuff that led us to the understanding, but we recall when we need to use those things, like math, parts of science, weather, whatever.
Yep.
So that's part of conditioning. And now I'm gonna jump into a segue of conditioning while I'm bringing it up. We are conditioned in our society, and I wholeheartedly believe this. This is an opinion, by the way. I'm not a scientist. I have not researched it fully. But we are conditioned to not be mindful in the society that we're in. And I say this because through advertisement, through distractions, a lot of the things that keep us from being mindful, literally, we are actively being taught to not be a present person in our situations.
Yes.
When it comes to advertisement, if you look at a lot of the things they have to use to get things to you, like colors, like certain visual obscurity. Yes. That's
Placement.
the placement.
That gets your attention.
If you are actively present in a situation, you will immediately be able to not be, like, for example, you go by the Golden Arches, if you're meditating and present, you're not going to be hungry. But if you're not present, you see a Golden Arch, you probably ate dinner. Honey, let's stop and go get some fries real quick. Let's go get a shake. You are not even subconscious.
High blood pressure ass fries. Hell.
But what I'm saying is, that's where I feel like a lot of us have to realize something, that we might think we're being present and mindful at all places in time, because these are now mantras being used in media, social media, present mindfulness, let's be one. Are we actually doing it? Because
Absolutely not.
And please,
speak for yourself.
friends, Mr. Non-Essential, Big Wayne, and Amore.
Maria.
Please, I want y'all in no great order to go into the conditionings that you've experienced, and also explain further on how you see these conditionings and how it prevented or is preventing you from getting to that mindful state.
And make sure y'all add water and wash out the condition when you're done.
You know what?
Don't get it in your eyes.
Well, if you got that 4C hair, please condition first before rinsing, and make sure you add a little bit of that blue magic.
Boy,
Blue
I tell you, y'all keep throwing these hair
If the hair still dry, just add some motor
Oh,
oil.
Lord Jesus.
Please shout out what you do, ma'am.
It ain't about me right now.
Okay. I would like to, though. But let's
She
go.
used royal purple.
No, she don't. She let them berry.
She still used that lustrous oil pink moisturizer.
Listen,
Unplug
sometimes I go to the hair store just to smell it, to remind me of my childhood.
But you don't remember it past 10.
And I still I was still a child. I was still 10. You act like I became grown at 10.
I don't know. Nowadays, 10 o'clock, 10 years old, they about grown shit.
Anyway, back to conditioning. Friends, please take over.
Y'all got it. Go ahead.
Shit, don't point at me. I don't know what y'all.
Come on, not essential.
You got it.
You've been conditioned to be not essential, haven't you?
I got
Straight out of point.
So, you know what? What was the question again?
Look,
ADD's a mother.
you've been conditioned, my friend,
You've been conditioned.
Well, then I need some antidote. Hand me the Adderall or whatever.
Right there.
But honestly, let's get this conditioning out there, because we all have some really good let me direct it a little bit myself. I'm gonna go to Amore.
Yes.
Come on, Just Mary.
As a black, as I'm not gonna say black, as women in this society, we have been conditioned to try to live a certain level of beauty, regalness, a class, right? But when I look at social media and I look at advertisement, that does not promote that conditioning. It clashes sometimes. Because when I see a woman whose breasts are out, you know what I mean? As a young woman, I was always told, women, you have to be...
What's wrong with their breasts being out?
A whole lot. Carry on.
What the hell you mean?
And of course, that's why I'm speaking to the woman in the room, the other woman in the room. Thank you. Woman with a capital W. Woman.
I'm finna mute your ass.
No. So here's the thing. So as a woman in this culture, you have been conditioned, and I'm sure you're aware of your conditioning.
Yep.
But because you've decided to become a more mindful person in your progress, how have you seen how have you identified the conditioning and then removed it from from how you operate in the sense of mindfulness, of present moment, of actually being available to experience the moments in which you are in every day today?
So there are like so many rules with being a woman, and a lot of them are unwritten rules. They're like social norms. So, and there's different classifications. You have women who you have to cover yourself and have standards for yourself and have morals and think about, how you're portraying yourself, because if you dress a certain way and you go out there, then men will look at you a certain kind of way and they're going to treat you based upon how you appear, how you dress.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the other spectrum to where feminism and women empowerment, be who you want to be, dress how you want to dress, and how you conduct yourself does not give a man the right to disrespect you or treat you in any kind of way.
Now, I want to expound a little bit more. You brought up two subjects that are very profound to a lot of people, but as an individual woman, you are conditioned. You might have been conditioned in your femininity, in parts of your femininity.
I was
right?
conditioned in both.
In both.
Mm-hmm.
So can you, without getting too far into it, can you go and give us a specification of your conditioning as a woman?
So I was conditioned to be independent. I was conditioned not to rely on a man for anything.
Mm.
And to be my own 2 feet and to be my own person.
Mm.
But the funny thing is, in reality, you need both.
Mm.
A man needs to be a man, a woman needs to be a woman, and I was conditioned to be both the woman and the man.
So your conditioning was duality,
Mm-hmm.
but in actuality, you found singularity.
Yep.
Meaning that you have to find that you are both one man. Within yourself, you are the combination of a man and a woman. So you can't separate the man from your femininity, because without the man, there would not be your specific femininity. You needed a fall. In order to have a baby, you gotta have a man to put that bun in the oven. And to negate that means. And the
You
men.
forgot about the test tube, baby.
Hey, you still need a specimen, and it comes from what?
It don't matter. You can get that from a cow, shit, or a horse.
Okay, we are not going to cow babies.
No.
Okay, listen.
Just
we're
saying.
not going to
Take that
cow
part
babies.
out.
But you hit some good points on this conditioning, and you brought up points at me as we're both brown women.
Mm-hmm.
We're both melanated women,
Mm-hmm.
and in the sense of melanated women, what I realize is I can understand your upbringing, because it was the same message given to me that you have to be strong,
Yep.
you have to be independent.
Mm-hmm.
If a man gives you something, be careful, because he's going to want something from you.
Absolutely.
And that conditioning,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not trying to downgrade any woman who tells a daughter that, because you do want your children to be independent.
Mm-hmm.
But that conditioning, in my experience as a woman who didn't really understand, because why my mother gave me that information is based on her experience.
Right.
In 1991 to 2020, it's a different experience.
Mhm.
So when I make my decisions as a woman for a mate, I'm using an experience from a woman who was born in 1952.
That's
Right.
good.
So,
And
That's
can we understand where, as a people, even not just as people, just in general, when we are told something through our conditioning, how, if we don't see it through the lens of the now, we might be, in hindsight, thinking, oh, I'm doing what's right because, look, my mom's doing well. She got money. She's doing well. But that was 1952. You needed to be that in 1952.
Right.
But do you need to be that in 2020? Because in 2020, as a woman, I don't need a man, like you brought up eloquently, I don't need a man to have a baby. I can literally pick the man I want for my child.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case, why do I need to be so independent in the sense of, I don't need nobody. I'm strong. You don't have to give me nothing. Because technically, society's already told me that's already a thing, lady. So if you walk around with your strength and your power and your anger, you're going to distance more people away from yourself.
That part. Say
So,
it again.
as we jumped into the women's movement, because listen, if it was just me and Miss Amore right now, we would probably firebomb both of you with flames of feminine beauty and strength.
Actually,
I wouldn't give a damn.
actually, the person who I am now, like, I love men, and I wish that we would speak so much life
Right,
into men
right.
because We need them just as much as
Right.
they need us, if
Facts.
not more.
Facts. All you radical feminists, and I'm not trying to be rude to y'all.
Go ahead, do your
But
thing.
I need y'all to listen to what this woman just
Our
said. This
time
is
will
a
come,
strong
man.
woman who's
Time.
very independent and capable of herself. But she said one thing: we cannot keep putting the same subjugation that our mothers dealt with onto the men today, because they are not those men. They also have been freed of shackles of things of the past.
That part.
And so if we keep holding them to those shackles, this also
Yep.
goes for minorities and for the people who are born of the oppressors of the minorities. We all have to realize that today is 2020. So the conversation is completely different.
Right.
Our parents' conversation
They
was
have
of
COVID.
it was well, we do. And we do. And so with COVID, things change. With life, things change.
COVID worse than
But
your baby mama.
I want to redirect conditioning to the men. And I'm not trying to polarize this conversation,
Right.
but our chemical makeup changes our conditioning.
Yes.
And so for the men, I want y'all to take over this conversation and explain to us, in your time of conditioning, how did you learn your conditioning? Either consciously or subconsciously, where you can recall today in your age group that I was conditioned to feel this way. Was there any rational survival need for it? Nope, that's how I was conditioned. And how you broke through some of these chains or have not because of that conditioning.
Oh my God.
And he died. So, the conditioning. And on the next
See,
episode.
Oh my God.
But you can't speak on everything, everybody. But
Speak on yourself because somebody relates to it.
nah, I don't. I'm gonna speak on a little tidbit here and there. So when you talking about this condition stuff, that's like you said, we grew up being told this, and as Mariette said, you got these unwritten laws. As a male, I don't know where that fucking book come from. That shit. You ain't got to speak it, motherfucker.
Yeah,
Man, you already know that's against the man code.
No, their book is very old, and
Our book,
is
yeah, I was
very
just gonna
old.
say,
The male
This shit
book-
older than the Old Testament.
Remember, Adam was the first. Now, whether you believe that specific story or not, even whether you believe the specific story or not, let me just say this, because I do believe that that's an
Now, we
image
talking
of
about
how.
biblical or we talking about scientific?
No, if we talk about biological, in order for an egg to be fertilized, it requires the male sperm.
Absolutely.
Which, if you take that into context of who was first, you know, say the chicken and the egg. In order for the egg to even make something, that the sperm has to inseminate. So if we
That's
just
the what?
you,
Hey, that's just the way
Just
you did
keep
that
going.
gesture. You
So-
know what I'm saying? You said inseminate.
and if we want to,
Penetrate.
if you don't want to make it a religious statement, we can make it more of a
I'm open
no,
to whichever.
everything. No, the thing is, but let's look past the religion and look
Right.
more at the idea, the understanding of it.
Right.
So
I
if
got
we
you.
talk about it, the sperm had to come first to make the
I'm listening.
We
I'm
just
listening.
straight sex ed.
the sperm had to be released first
Absolutely.
in order for the egg to be fertilized.
I was a sperm developer.
And sperm is a representation of masculinity. So I'm not saying this to annoy a feminist or a woman who thinks that, oh, I'm a woman and I'm this and that. No, let's just be biological and real about it. Honey, you can't have a baby unless you got a sperm, and in order to get sperm, you need a man. You need some
Well,
balls.
like you said, fast forward to 2020, you say, you know what I'm saying, go to the sperm bank.
Right. You still need to provide a specimen, sir.
Hey,
So,
right, but
in the
look,
cup, sir.
But you can go shopping. You can go
And
shopping
that's
for
what I mean.
sperm.
So what I mean, what I'm getting to this point is, we'll take out the Bible. Men, in order for us women to fulfill our destiny of nurturing the world, we need a man to provide us that ability,
Yes.
which is providing life.
And we thank y'all so
Thank you,
much
thank
for
you.
that.
And we have to
Y'all are very
respect
welcome.
our men for that. But the more we don't respect them for that, I mean, honestly, think about it, ladies. When a man disrespects you, you're ready to cut him 6 ways to his mother's womb. You ready. But these men have not punched us for all the disrespect that we put upon them.
Whew, I'm glad you said it.
Hey, I'm doing it for you. I'm speaking for you, man.
But no.
Real facts have
Go
just been
ahead.
spoken.
Go ahead.
But yeah, did you want
Take
to?
it. Take it.
I'm gonna talk about
Come on, man.
chimps and
Let's
shit.
go. You said it's hard for us to pick up this.
Okay.
You want to
So,
I'm gonna talk about the side.
I was just asking, was my brother gonna speak? Because I didn't want to overshadow.
Look, they always have.
No. But anyways, we're gonna get into this. But no, in the conditioning, you know, as a man growing up, you're actually told that you're supposed to be strong. You're supposed to do this. This is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to work pretty much your whole life to take care of the family. You know what I'm saying? You
and
have
die
to be
early because
you have to hold on. You got to be the sole provider and everything like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's also taught to us that if you start making X amount of dollars or getting a certain status, to watch out for women because they trying to trap you.
Yeah.
So
I told my brother that, I'm not gonna lie.
what you had actually said earlier was I didn't want to interrupt you because you were actually told to be independent and everything like that, which is great. But then we're told to watch out for you because you might be trying to trap me.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I'm going to come back to you real quick. And the reason I'm saying this topic is something that men have been very afraid to talk about. There's two gentlemen on YouTube, and I'm trying to pull it up now, but I can't recall. They're two East African gentlemen who always speak on men. And I listen to them, and I do this because I think, and the names are Abba and Preach. Y'all might have seen them on YouTube. They had a show one day about what you just said specifically. So women in a high bracket of money nowadays are telling men who are not in the same bracket, who don't make the same money, I can't deal with you because you can't afford me. However, conditioning has shown that poor women, and I'm correcting myself because I want to say the B word, but I'm trying not to. Bitch. But thank you.
What's my favorite word?
So
we'll call them female.
Let's talk about the fact, and I'm only going to bring the
unstable creatures.
I'm going to go back to Wayne, but women now are saying, I'm so rich, I don't want to ever go down to a level of some broke man because I made my money. But when a man is rich, it's okay for him to pull your broke, crusty foot.
Oh my God!
Can't put a weave on your hair self, but without having to suck a beep self from the trenches and put all the money that he gave you. And the way that they edified this was prenuptial agreements. Wealthy women are now forcing men to sign prenups because they feel like, I don't want you to take my money. But there was an era where women felt, well, when I got with him, I had nothing. And he built this empire, and I feel like you should give me that. He built the empire, and this is going to annoy a lot of people. Jeff Bezos' wife, I don't congratulate her. You might have been there, but the amount of money that you got, yes, he did something that was infidelity. He should have to take care of that part. But is it actually worth that man's half of all of his earnings? That man was in that room doing the trades, doing the work. He did everything for his money. What was she actually doing, and how did the court decipher that? Because you just have a nice perky breasts and beautiful hair don't equate to half a six. How much was that? Half 100 billion. Half a lot of money. And
she
half
fainted.
a lot of money. Half a lot of money. He's going to get that money back. But again, how do we as women sit here and justify putting men to that benchmark, and we don't even put ourselves there? Wayne, take over.
I'm going to tell you what. It's off of basically.
But you got
last husband did.
I was going to say it was the same thing that I just said just a moment ago. It's off of that conditioning of a man is supposed to take care of his family, regardless. But he's supposed to be the breadwinner. He's supposed to do that. So, with that conditioning being said, so if you're in a household where you have, it's brothers and sisters, and if this is being told to the son, the daughter is going to hear it.
Right.
So, not saying that it's directly told to her. So now
she heard it. So
but now she's like, okay, so if I get a husband, he's supposed to do this and this and this. But if I'm up here making six figures and he's not making that, he's not a man because he can't provide for the house.
And I hate that. I hate that.
And I'm not trying to judge, but that's why a lot of women, you feel hurt when you find a man who may not make a lot of money, but he's a good man.
Mm-hmm.
He provides. When I say provide, we put too much monetary value conditioning on a provider. Go ahead, Marvin.
No, but like that's a good point. But it's just crazy because when you think of that, like, okay, so you don't make a lot of money, but you making a lot of money. Like, but are you doing as what you're supposed to do as a woman, as his other half,
Exactly.
to lift him?
Bring it.
Okay.
Thank
Exactly.
you, brother.
That's the one that's getting missed every time.
Thank
Every
you.
time.
Now, Mr. Not
Every
Essential,
time.
you are very essential. That's why I said he's the most essential, non-essential
So-
Negro.
I'm just saying.
I mean, and that's real because like
That's that gray area that's missed every time.
And I think that's the thing. That's the thing about conditioning that I want to hit upon. That's what conditioning does. Conditioning has a lot of gray areas because, and I'm gonna segue a little bit closer to the next part, which is social
Just don't
norms.
fall off the segue.
I will try not to. So social norms. Before I do though, thank you everybody who's joining us. I don't see a lot on our comment pages, but it's easy to get there. You can definitely go online. Spreaker. It's called Spreaker. SPREA KER. It's like speaker, but with an R. Spreaker.
yes.
So you go to your Apple store, you go to your Google Play, you type in Spreaker, it pops up an emblem, you download it, you find us, you make an account, and you get part of this conversation. But I'm going to jump into something real quick. Oh, by the way, Relapse 101 in 20 minutes in the closet. We're doing this big things. We're getting y'all mindful.
Hey.
So what I want y'all to understand something is we have conditioning and social norms go hand in hand. In order for you to find a social norm, you got to be conditioned to it. Period. You can throw out conditioning if you don't connect it to society, you have a problem. And everything that we hit upon, guys, especially as women and men, is something that most of our experience in Western, and I always want to edify on Western, because other communities battle things, but they don't battle the same things that we battle in this Western world. Because one thing about the Western world that I've noticed, being a child who immigrated here and was raised in a dual system. In my household, mom and dad provided. Dad was the king, mom's the queen.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't like, oh, well, daddy has more weight. No, it's like this. Daddy's like, listen, if you piss her off, I don't know you. I help make you, but I don't want any trouble with the bed.
I want no smoke.
And that's the thing that I love with my dad, because my dad respected my mother and didn't allow her. He just, you're who you are. And I feel like that's a lot of mindfulness. In mindfulness, when you have relationships, you don't expect, you let. If your partner is who they are, you don't expect, because when you start expecting, you're setting yourself up for problems. Because you're putting upon them the conditioning that you were taught that may not be right upon your partner, who may not even flower in that conditioning, if you want to say that. So I'm just gonna kind of bring it up to the reason why, and I'm hoping you guys see where I'm coming from. I brought up mindfulness for a reason. In order for us to understand where we are, we have to be present. In order to be present, you have to understand where you were conditioned to not realize that you're right here, right now. So when I said something about what my mom did in 1952 or how she was raised, what does that have to do with 2020? You didn't have COVID in 2020. You didn't have a Black Lives Matter movement in the bush of Africa in 1952. You didn't have an iPhone in 1952. You didn't have social media. You didn't have young girls running around showing their behinds and getting paid more than a woman who took her time to go to school, type, and learn. So now we get to our social norms. And the reason I bring up social norms that frustrates me the most is when I go online and I see these young girls promote, and I'm bringing up this one because her music, I've listened to it, and I did shake my behind. Megan Thee Stallion. I bring it up because it's not her that I don't like. It's what she represents, or what she has allowed herself to represent.
What she's promoting.
What she's promoting and what's behind what she's promoting.
Yeah.
A lot of times we're told that she's a woman who's empowered and strong. Megan Thee Stallion signed a deal with Rockefeller. Jay-Z, a man. She's out here twerking, showing her behind, talking about I sucked such and such phallus. and I did fellatio and hoo, and I don't care because I'm an independent woman. I can do what I want to do.
And throw that ass in the circle.
And that too. However, how does that follow the ideas of independence? Because usually the idea of an independent woman is a man is not telling you what to do, but a man is paying you to degrade yourself. And we're paying you, or we're giving you our eyes to degrade yourself.
Are y'all ready for this kind of conversation?
And if that woman, if Megan Thee Stallion had a breaking moment in her life and became more mindful and present of who she was in that moment, would she really be doing what she's doing? The presentation that we love to see is very glamorous and it's very beautiful, and we're all like, oh, well, she got that lace front and her skin looks flawless. But I've seen pictures of this young woman, and I don't want to just call her out, but we all have blemishes. But what you see on TV is not who she really is, but you try to be that.
It's called camera magic.
Thank you. And
Photoshop.
And that goes more onto our world, right?
Ass implants. Everything.
Wayne, you have daughters.
I have one.
One daughter.
Yes. I'm sorry. Just don't put that S on there.
Sorry, daughter.
It's only one. It's only one.
I fear for you as a parent, not even as a father, as a parent, because when I see what little girls are being told and it's the thing is, it's never changed. Marilyn Monroe, don't get me wrong, very smart woman, used her sexuality to her benefit, but diminished her intelligence in order to gain, how do you say, notoriety.
Social economic.
Do you know that Marilyn Monroe was married to Arthur Miller, an author who wrote books beyond, an intelligent man doesn't just marry a dumb blonde. There's something, Marilyn wasn't even a real dumb blonde. No, hold on.
I get
Marilyn wasn't even a blonde. Let's coin that. She was a brunette who found a way to get a man that intelligent to believe she was a dumb blonde. Do you see, like, the Matrix in that?
Mm-hmm.
You faked your intelligence off of conditioning and social norms to reach a level of success and notoriety, married a man who's just, maybe you might be on the same level intelligence-wise, but you diminished yourself in order to reach his level of notoriety. But you were smart enough to realize how you had to diminish yourself. That kind of conditioning and is toxic in my mind, because what do we represent to our world? You are a parent, Wayne, Big Wayne. You are a parent. Your daughter's going to have to battle these conditionings that sometimes are out of your hands. Absolutely. Conditioning, parents do not play that big of a part in conditioning like you think. And it's unfortunate for a lot of parents out there. Please edify this on conditioning and social norms. How much you've noticed the amount that you play in the conditioning of your own daughter. And the social norms that she has to battle.
Think about it.
I don't think he has to put too much thought into it. I think he's already come across those challenges.
I know. He thought about it, but he's about to deliver.
I really am.
I know, that's why I say I want you to really get a full...
So,
charge it up.
With me thinking about it, you know, and seeing the way that I would pretty much send her off to school, or how she would come back and how we would hold conversations, it was in my mind that my mentorship was on point. But I also had to realize at the same time that she's influenced by the other kids. She's influenced by mom. She's influenced by TV.
Even strangers that walked out.
Right.
That you never know.
And once I started to truly realize that we really only give our children a fraction of what we want to give them, because like you had stated earlier, we will tell our kids, don't do this, or do this, do this, do this, and they have to be rebellious because we're giving them our experience. Majority of the time, and older parents will tell you this, I don't have to explain anything to my kids. Well, that's what we're asking for. You saying I can't do this, but why not?
Right. And you notice that relationship with grandparents. As parents become grandparents, They learn to explain more.
Yes.
And what they're explaining no longer is to their direct child, it's to the grandchild, because they finally realize that what they put in their child, it's too late for you. But we can stop it here.
Right.
Because I, as the parent, the originator of all two of you, I slipped up. I used my uninformed, unmeditated, unmindful experience to raise you. And that's why I bring up this with you. You are learning. I'm never going to tell somebody that they've fully experienced mindfulness.
Absolutely.
I can't. That's not for me to know. That's not for me to see. That's for you to understand. But as a mindful parent, right? And I say that the way I said it because parents, adults, you have to understand you have to be present and mindful in your experiences because in your subconscious, in your conditioning and the social norms you try to propagate, you are unwittingly allowing things that you will suffer or your child will suffer in the future. So if you're mindful and you are a parent, if you are a guidance counselor, if you're a manager, whatever you do in your life, if you're mindful when you're doing these things, you have more control of seeing a better outcome of them becoming fruitful because you've released yourself from it. You said, you know what? I'm here now. Forget if 8,000 people died because of it before. This is today. Those people are already dead. I'm here now. Why am I going back in the past? So I'm sorry, continue. Sorry, I do that sometimes.
You forgot your train of thought.
No.
I lost that like 20 minutes
I do
ago.
that.
I forgot what I was going to talk
That's why Marvin and I are friends. That's why Mr. Non-Essential and I are friends, because when he met me, I distracted him with other conversation. He's like, let me be her friend. But the warning signs fell away because I kept distracting him from the warning signs. Warning!
But
crazy.
No.
Clever.
One of the things that that I definitely try to do more of with being a parent and everything is one of the things that actually happened to me when I was younger. And I think I talked about it before, is when my other siblings, because I'm the youngest, my other siblings were doing things, sport-wise or extracurriculars after school, and I had to attend, but when it was time for me, no one came. So with just that little piece right there, it's basically like it's almost crushing your child's dream. Like your child is coming to you, oh, I want to do this. Nah, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not that type of parent. I'm the one that like, oh, you say you want to do this? Oh, okay. Well, let's talk about it. How do you want to do it? And actually, I'm actually going through that with my daughter right now. She's trying to start her own business. I'm not going to say what it is because we're working through some things. So one of the first things I told her is because she told me she had an idea. She wanted to do something. And I said, okay, what name are you going to give? Now she came up with a name. Okay. Have you thought about a logo? How this is going to look? How you want your brand to look? Now she started coming up with a couple things. She drew a couple things out. Okay, so what sets your product from this person's product? You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I'm saying it like that, and I'm not trying to prolong what I'm talking about, but if I was to shut her down, this is several weeks and months of going through it. Not just kill her dreams, but if she felt like it was something,
another idea to you,
right? If she felt like it was something important, I'm not going to be the person she talks to. You know.
I have a question about conditioning and as a parent with your children. What is your take or your response or perception, however you want to break it down, to the conditioning that's been happening over the past, I'll say even 10 years, of parents being absent in a child's life? If you pay attention to a lot of shows geared towards young children, the parents and the adults are either not even in the picture or they play a dumb role.
Let me expound before you answer. It's before that. Our generation had Charlie Brown. Every adult, womp. You saw them from the knee down, and you couldn't even understand what they were saying. Now, you are from that age group, and now you see, like you said, the children, they're not even there.
At all. And they're wearing makeup, they're wearing clothes that we would, as adults, would wear.
And when they are there, they're fools. Because there's one show that I've seen the children watch where their parents, I'm like, the kids are more attuned to things than the parent. What's going on here?
So what are your thoughts on that? Because that's a conditioning that is put on
through
the children.
Social norms, through our media.
Right. To where they feel like they can problem solve and work things out on their own, and they don't even need adults, don't even need their parents. So as a parent,
Mr. Non-Essential is like, he's festive. I'm sorry, Big Wayne. I want to throw it over here because you do have experience in this understanding.
No, it's literally what your parents always say. You're gonna go done watching that damn TV. That's what it is. A lot of kids watch
that idiot box. That's what my granddad used to call it.
The difference is now it's more so some kids are getting pacified.
And they can stream it all and not have any commercials.
They will watch certain platforms or they will watch certain shows on TV that look at what they're seeing at, like you said, at a young age.
Well, let me jump into that.
Their kids just give them YouTube and let them watch whatever.
We've been bashing media, but we've been bashing media a lot in this sense. But let me say something real quick. A lot of the stuff that we did as kids, we got it from media, right? The 80s babies. Let's just be honest. In the 90s, a lot of the things that we were interested in, and I'm not saying everybody, but as a collective.
I'm in control, but here's the idea.
Okay.
We have not seen a TV show like Family Matters, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, have we?
Let me stop before you continue. See, you said come on to that, but let me give you something real quick. You brought up Fresh Prince. You brought up Family Matters.
We don't see the ones with the household.
Hold on.
Well,
even has all of us, and they have something else.
But let's talk. We're gonna really break this down real quick. Conditioning. In that environment, I'm gonna bring up Family Matters for a specific reason. Carl Winslow in Chicago. In Chicago. He's a cop. He's a black cop. Speaking of, in Chicago. Statistically, especially in that time, there were not that many black cops in Chicago. There were not that many black families that represented the real situation in Chicago for a lot of black families. They were in a suburban neighborhood. And let's just be honest with us. There is a systematic segregation of certain ethnic groups from certain areas. So I get where we're coming from. Our generation, this is only my interpretation, our generation was inflated with a whole lot of attempts of what the baby boomers were already indoctrinated into. And when I say that is that nuclear family. What happened was that nuclear family fell apart in the 70s due to drugs. And the government ourselves had to reinflate that in the 90s with us. We in the 30s have the buying power. We in our 30s have been injected with a lot of the information that our parents gave us. For example, owning a home. Who was the first to be treated to, you need to own a home with a white picket fence? A lot of our counterparts in our 30s have been fighting to own a home. Working 9-to-5 jobs, separated from their kids, working 40-hour work weeks. The New Deal came in the 1930s. Our parents were in their 13. I have a parent who's a baby boomer. 2 parents. The time of the New Deal, my parents were babies. That New Deal affected them because that New Deal also promoted the idea of you can own a home. We had that same thing in our childhood, in our teenagehood, in 2009 with the crash of the housing market. Prior to that, before the war, they told us we could own a home out of college. How could I do that with this much debt? But yet we still strove for it. A lot of our counterparts are now broke without homes, went into bankruptcy after 2009 because of the same message that was repurposed to us that our parents were given. So that's a reconditioning. But the conditioning was tweaked a little bit because instead of Beaver, we have Family Matter. Instead of MASH, we have, there was a military one. I don't remember what it was. Every show that our parents watched was repurposed for us with a sense of inclusivity for blacks, Asians, browns, because back then it was just whites.
Well, part of that was we got tired of not seeing successful black families on television.
But here's the question. Why is it that we're conditioned in the Western world to have to see that on TV when it's literally down the fucking, excuse my language, down the street?
Because it wasn't always in the street for everybody.
But that's not true. That's not true. We can say it's not for everybody, but in fact it is. Because even when you go to listen, I am an immigrant who was raised in an all-white community. Mm-hmm. If white people said we've never been in contact or don't know how black people live in my community, you're lying. Because you didn't take the time to come see the black people in your community. You rather look it online.
But that's the point that she's getting at is that even though it can, but you know what I'm saying, and that's one of the things that's different with our society being in the 80s and 90s. Mm-hmm. We didn't know thy neighbor. So if I didn't want to get to know you because you were different. Okay. So if I wanted to see how stereotypical you lived or you did things, I would turn on the idiot box.
What's so different about in the 1900s when you had blackface? Or when you had black movies like Porgy and Bess? They didn't know us, but they used that as a reference for us.
But you have to listen to the difference. Okay. You're stating that from seeing someone portray a different race versus the actual race being portrayed as a whole.
I get you.
You know what I mean?
See, this is why this is why we have these conversations. You see where my mindset was and where my conditioning came from? Mm-hmm. Because I was able to have this conversation with you guys. You open up a different portal of where, okay, this is what I thought. Because in my conditioning, I was taught to look at it from that perspective. Mm-hmm. Right. But because your conditioning and your norms and your attributes today are different, I can now open myself to being present right now in this conversation, which takes time. Now, we've been talking about this a lot, and I'm sorry, guys. I know it's kind of getting a little late. But I do want, and I know we have a lot to say, but these are the type of conversations that we have to leave for the speaker. Mm-hmm. I'm not Spreaker for the Spreaker. I'm not gonna end this quite yet, but I do want to throw a couple questions to our panel, and let's be a little brief because I know it's getting a little late. But how do you meditate? And I know we kind of touched on it a little bit, but now that we're at the end of this, I want you to really, now that we've spoken about conditioning, social norms, how do you get to meditation? I know you go off somewhere, but there's a deeper meaning to that and how you get to meditate. What provokes your meditation?
Noise. I don't like too much noise. And I can't hear what I need to hear on how to navigate and how to be my true self because there's too much noise. There's too much conditioning. There's too many influences. There's just too much noise. And when I feel that I'm getting polluted, that's why I actually go off somewhere and I just disconnect. And it's basically I meditate to recharge and to ground myself. And then I come back to society.
And Mr. Non-Essential, who's not essentially paying attention.
What?
How do you meditate? What provokes your meditation?
Shit, a fucking cold ass beer. That's about it.
Can I get a brand specifically?
Whatever the hell I feel like.
Okay.
I was gonna say they ain't paying me for it.
Right. I ain't saying.
Big Wayne.
It depends on what I'm meditating for. Mm-hmm. Because there's some times where I can actually feel spiritually tired, and if I'm feeling spiritually tired, the best way for me to meditate is actually right before I go to bed. Mm-hmm. So I can actually lay in the bed and meditate that way. I meditate differently when I'm frustrated. Like if I can be frustrated at work, I can literally sit in my car and I can meditate. Like I can detach. I can detach from all the noise and everything else that's going around, but I'm literally sitting in my car and I can meditate that way. But one of the best experiences I've had is I did a family meditation. And that was a trip.
Because you got connected to the things that created you, the things that were part of your creation.
Gotcha.
So
that's actually pretty dope, right?
So we did, and it was.
You can't do that, but that's pretty dope.
Now I will say, my meditation lately has been through fasting. And I only say that because sometimes my meditation is spiritual, very spiritual, because all this stuff around me, I could give a few shits for, honestly. But when I go into a fast, there's a certain time where you get hungry, where you have to literally say, I'm not eating. Like you make a decision, I'm not eating. And there's a certain level of euphoria that happens where, and some people say, bitch, because you hungry. But no, that's true. It's true. Like I'm so hungry that I can only focus on something other than my hungerness, which makes me have to focus on what does the air smell like right now? Oh, everybody around me is angry. So I'm going to be happy. I'm just going to be present and content. 2 more questions and then we're going to wrap it up. I do want to ask you guys, when it comes to this topic of meditation, conditioning, and social norms, do you think that we can? Do you think that we can find balance in our current state of existence, in our current society, in our current world? Because right now with COVID and with Black Lives Matter, and there's going to be more to come, we're all connected. So do you think that there's a chance that we can find a sense of Zen? If some people will say in the meditation that Zen, where we can all connect on a level of just being versus all the conditioning and social norms that have kind of screwed us up.
Nope.
No.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Different experiences.
Because a lot of people, they base their life off of conditioning and the different experiences they had. So with us even with this conversation, with us being able to sit down and have this conversation, we're being from different parts of the world, different parts of the U.S., coming from different ages, different cities and everything, even though we can all share something common, but when we leave here, we're still all going our separate ways, thinking about different things and being like, oh yeah, well, I could have said X, Y, Z, but I don't know how they would have took it. So we
is
still...
a meditator the type that wouldn't even care if the rest of the world knew what was happening in that moment? A true meditation would say, whether the world knows it or not, I'm present.
It still depends on the person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think a lot of it's based on just, I don't know, it's like 2 factors in it. And it's like, you got to be willing to get to have a conversation. You got to be honest and have a conversation.
Well, how did in the Bible, the Tower of Babel, the Tower of Babel, in the Tower of Babel, man came together in one unified consciousness. And because we came so close together in unified consciousness, God himself had to destroy the Babel.
But you're talking about a time when people were more so, it wasn't divided as they are.
Well, we say...
And that was also, if you also look into...
The language was divided after that. Everything, consciousness was divided.
Right. And that was also, if you actually read into it, that was also a time when animals and everything else spoke to us and we can understand them.
But they do speak to us still.
But we can't understand them. But that's what we're getting
You meet people who do. And a frequency.
It's a difference.
But there's a difference because that's mean I got to meet people. I've met over 100,000 people and not one of them been able to, you know what I'm saying?
I got you.
So that's where the difference is.
So what is our challenge? And this is going to be part of my last conversation. What is the challenge faced for us? Because empowerment says that we just said we're all 80s babies. Our generation right now is sitting right here. We are the strongest and the most powerful and we have the most capability of changing literally. I want my listeners to hear this. The 30-year-olds right now, the world rests on our shoulders so hard, harder than it's ever been to me, because I'm here for most generations. Because there's a lot of things happening right now at once. How do we, as this generation that has the world rested on our shoulders like Atlas, keep walking? Because it's not even the fact that Atlas wants to lift it up. He's just trying to move with the world on his shoulders. So knowing that we're conditioned, almost like it sounds like to fail.
We are.
Yeah.
And then our social norms only like inflame the failure. How do we...
The only way
through knowledge.
The only way we can truly get the gravy train moving, you know what I'm saying? Like he said, is through knowledge. Like if I know something, or if
Knowledge and uplifting.
You know what I'm saying? If I can do something, if this is my trade, like I do radio and photography, right? What if Mr. Non-Essential is the brains for the hardwire for, you know what I'm saying, for something? Why we can't work together? Why do we have to be
So
so
you're saying we need
different?
to be more, we need to stop
So
looking at the
basically, it's
shell and
love
look at,
for each other.
Yeah, we gotta have
Love and
that.
compassion.
well, in that
Not just so much of just love, but you got to be able to respect
I feel
somebody,
like-
to listen to them,
or not
and to
even
be
that.
able to
You
move
have to
forward.
be able to see something beyond what the norms and the conditioning tell. Like, here, let me give you an example. We're all here, brown people, right? Very intelligent, very strong, strong, independent, strong people. Some people might look at us as not, but they're hurting themselves because if they only see the social norm or conditioning that's told them to look at you as, well, you brought it up last week, you got braids or you got dreads and you don't have nothing to offer my company and you can keep on and going. So you're saying that we have to open our minds to the fact that what you see is not necessarily what I am.
Exactly.
Right?
Being present and being mindful, you understand that there are principalities, there are norms, there are things that are happening that are unseen that you are up against. And so also the knowledge you have, the compassion you have. For instance, I am, and I say this proudly, and that's a different conversation, but I am a rape survivor. Okay? However, when I come across another woman who's still battling from the trauma and everything from her experience, when I speak to her, I'm going to meet her at her level and I will identify with her as a rape victim. And as we go through the healing process together, I'm going to change my wording to a rape survivor. I'm an overcomer, I'm a conqueror, and speak that into her so she can actually see and feel.
So you're saying we need to speak life. We need to
speak in existence.
We need to speak life into each other and not speak.
Like I said,
Stop speaking at each other and stop speaking to each other on our level, but meet each other at someone else's level.
Mr. Non-Essential, you might be the next Martin.
No.
Whoa. Okay.
No.
Martin Lawrence.
I drink too much for all that.
Martin Lawrence.
I'm going to go to sleep in 2 seconds.
You guys, it is getting late, and I'm sorry that I held you this long, and I thank you for staying. I thank you for staying this long too, because I appreciate this conversation.
Love you guys.
Everybody here, Miss Beautiful More, like she gets more. She gets more beautiful by the second. I promise you. We have Mr. Non-Essential.
Make sure you keep your thumbs up like this going home.
The most non-essential person on this planet, and Big Wayne. We had a great conversation, guys. I enjoyed everything that we talked about. You guys helped me learn a lot about myself, grow myself, and I'll be doing my podcast hopefully every Monday. Please join me on Facebook at 2020 MIN.
Man.
And I will be trying to post more and get more involved. Please give me feedback. I want to know more things. I want you guys to help me in helping me.
And if y'all do, make sure y'all donate some straight jacket. I need all these.
Also, by the way, download the app Spreaker on Apple and on Google Play. You also can see Relapse. You can listen, to Relapse 101 on Wednesdays. Am I correct, gentlemen?
Absolutely.
Please on Wednesdays.
Wednesday?
What time?
Absolutely.
What time?
7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Central Standard Time.
Central Standard Time. So that means if you live in New York, it's going to be an hour ahead.
It'd be 8 o'clock for you.
Now, if you over there in China, I don't know what time.
And you just gonna have to Google that.
It's gonna be tomorrow.
So honestly, guys,
You listen to us on Thursday morning.
Right.
Inspired Media, these gentlemen are giving me a platform to really grow myself, and I really want you guys to support them. I really want you to be a part of their movement. It's a very good movement, and we should always support the people who do these kind of things because they open you. They have given me an avenue and a platform to speak, and that's because of the strength of their ability to learn and do the things that they do. So if you really do care about movements and you really do care about doing these things, look for people like this. Find these men. Support them. Promote them. If you are an artist, if you are somebody who does something amazing, reach out to them. They're on Facebook. They're on Instagram. They're on Twitter. They're like gnats.
Bruh, for
They're
real.
like gnats.
We gonna,
But the good gnats.
Some damn
I'm just
gnats,
messing,
though?
Hey, low key, I like that though.
Like a
Because
gnat, bruh.
I actually like that. You wanna know why? Because the net can be right there in your face. You don't really see them until they go right
Yep.
past your eyes.
And
You be
it's-
like,
oh.
you be like, oh,
Like
who was
shit out
that?
yourself.
Oh, right. And it was like, I've been right here all day, stupid.
Right. So you guys, please find these gentlemen. I'm gonna bow out real quick. Let them throw out all the handles that you need to know. Please listen, write it down, add it now. If you don't, you suck. Whoa.
Well, with that being said,
So everything, with us, you can find us on the Wild Wild Web at
inationm.com. That's EYENationM.com. Or you can hit us up on all of our social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. That's Relapse 101 Show. And if you want to go ahead and send us your music like she did say earlier, make sure you send us that email at relapse101show@gmail.com.
And don't forget about Amore beside me here. This beautiful woman will have more things coming in the future. And I need you guys to remember her name. Remember, well, you can't see her because we're not on
Not
camera.
yet.
But this woman is gorgeous.
Thank you.
Gorgeous. Like, I love men, but she's gorgeous. So,
Thank
Here
you,
Go the
honey.
Pen.
all right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I'll be back again on Monday, 8 p.m., and I will have more for you. Love you, everybody. Guess what? We're going to make it.
Hey.
Word.
The hell?